Back here on CBS Sports HQ, what are the odds Ohio State runs it back? Glad you asked. Plus 450. Here's a way too early look at the odds to win the national title that will be played in 2026. Ohio State will have Julian Sayin competing for QB1. At Texas, the Arch Manning era officially begins. Plus 650. Along with Oregon, former UCLA quarterback Dante Moore set to take over in Eugene for the Ducks. Quack, quack. Back here with BMAC and Emory as we take a look at the way too early odds to win the national championship game played in 2026. What do you think, Emory, about Ohio State's chances? They're the favorites right now, and of course, when a team wins a national championship or any title in any sport, most often they're the favorites to win next season's title.
In a normal situation, yes, I would say so. But we're in this new era of college football where we're playing college football on January 20th, right? So with that being the backdrop, how about this? How about Ohio State gets a late start to their winter workouts and has to really go into the spring from a truncated offseason? I don't think they could be the favorite to come back and run it back because there's a lot of turnover that tends to happen now with the roster, but also playing so long, BMAC, it makes things very tough for a team that has had 16 games deep into January, run it back right away.
You know what? That's a cool point, big-time point that we're not really thinking about in terms of how long the season was for Ohio State, and the same can be said for Notre Dame. And to Emory's point, you look at the off-season regimen, the schedule. Most teams are now getting involved this week in their off-season workouts. For Ohio State, you got to give their players at least 3 to 4 weeks of just kind of cooling down and trying to get their bodies back into more of a healthier standpoint, considering they played from August basically to January, the middle to late January. That's a long extended season. And secondly, for me, in terms of Ohio State being the favorites to win a championship next year, Hakeem, you just said it's a quarterback competition. That's a legit concern in terms of being able to get back to the promised land once again. Because you look at what happened this season. They lost Kyle McCord, but in came a more than serviceable, experienced quarterback in Will Howard, who's played a lot of meaningful football throughout his collegiate career, and he was the guy. Was no competition. He came into this situation being the guy, and oh, by the way, one of the more expensive rosters when you look at NIL dealings in college football. And those players lived up to the billing. So there's a lot to really factor in terms of the favorites, and they will get every opposing team's best effort because of the success they had this season.
And I want to remind you of this. Michigan did not go into the portal after winning the national championship. They were fine with what they had. What season did they have? Didn't have a great season. They did beat Ohio State. I get it. I'm wearing that. They did beat Ohio State, but not the season they had hoped for. At Texas now, it is Quinn Ewers out, Arch Manning officially in. So that era begins. They have the second shortest odds at plus 650. BMAC, do you like Texas to win next year, or are you looking further down the board?
I have two. No question. My number one favorite would be Texas because of the Arch Manning effect. He is a QB1, potential first-round prospect. And what we've seen in the small sample size of Arch Manning is a guy that has the accuracy that he needs to be effective, not to mention the arm strength, but most importantly, mobility, right? That's another element to this offense that we were not able to see with Quinn Ewers in the lineup. Quinn Ewers was a pocket quarterback, and he only ran in desperate situations. Arch Manning does not mind becoming a +1 in the running game, and I think it will help this offense evolve into a whole nother level. When you look at what we saw with Riley Leonard and what he did tonight, and Will Howard, when you have a quarterback that's a willing participant in the running game, your offense can do numbers. And outside of Texas, let me throw another value pick in terms of a team I believe that could win it all, and that's Clemson with Dabo Swinney. The thing I love about Clemson, the ACC, the window is wide open. Once again, we don't know what to expect from the ACC. Secondly, you have to have a quarterback. Cade Klubnik is a guy that has an abundance of experience. Not to mention, he's probably the most experienced quarterback in ACC play. Not to mention, every year he's been in the lineup, he's grown, he's developed. This is a guy that can become a big-time playmaker for their team, and they're going to be in that position where they're always well coached. They know how to play, and the defense has always been a stout unit. So I think Clemson, when you look at the odds that they have, that could be a wild card team outside the top 3 or top 4 or top 5 that could make a significant run at a championship. championship.
I like your Arch Manning pick because at the end of the day, you get Dylan Baxter back.
Oh, yes.
Backfield, they get a lot of those guys that were injured preseason back, and that run game with him accentuating
with Baxter and Arch,
it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to go dark horse, deep down.
I like it.
Fishing.
You love going down.
I love going down in the swamp.
Sometimes you might pull out an
down in the
octopus.
swamp.
Yeah, I might pull out a gator too, right?
Ooh, chomp, chomp.
Yeah, chomp, chomp, right? Hey, what if I told you Florida went ahead and pushed Tennessee to overtime? They was in the college football playoff. They went ahead and they were getting ready to beat Georgia until their quarterback got hurt, and so Georgia was able to pull away. They beat LSU. They won their bowl game against a very tough Tulane squad of the AAC. Florida has the quarterback and DJ Lagway. They got a lot of talent coming in, and they have the confidence now, hey, we got a guy. And that's what you need in college football is a dude at quarterback. They have someone that works touchdown or check down in the passing game. He's a dual threat guy when he wants to be a runner, but he's mostly playing from the pocket. And they're bringing in a lot of talent. I've always been and still am a Billy Napier guy. I think he will do a great job in pulling off of Ryan Day, how people looked at Ryan Day, and now look how they look at Ryan Day winning his championship. Billy Napier going through the same thing, turning around, got the quarterback.
I'm going to take you one step further. They wanted to run Jim Harbaugh out of town, won a national championship. They wanted to run Ryan Day out of town, won a national championship. Why can't Billy do it?
Bingo.
Why not? I like that. Way too early pick. Bryant McFadden, Emory Hunt. Man, I'm going to miss you this offseason. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate you. Much love to both of you. Man, what a college football season this was. Our first ever 12-team playoff capped off by a national championship for Ohio State. Only 3 schools have won back-to-back national championships. Nebraska, Alabama, and the most recent was Georgia in 2021 and 2022.
Shout out to Tommy Frazier.
Coming up, full reaction to the national title game. Will Howard and Jeremiah Smith hook up for the play of the game. That's all coming up on CBS Sports HQ.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap,
we're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.